Imagine you are exactly 3 minutes into the absolute most important presentation of your entire professional life. The stakes are incredibly high. You are standing in a sleek, glass-walled boardroom in some high-rise, asking for the $5 million you desperately need to keep your startup from suffocating. It is a make-or-break moment. You take a deep breath. You click the remote to advance to your most critical slide, the one that lays bare your entire user acquisition model. And suddenly the projector dies. It goes pitch black. There is this suffocating dead silence in the room. The decision-makers at the table stop looking at the blank screen and slowly, deliberately turn to stare directly at you. The spotlight shifts. In that exact fraction of a second, do you freeze or do you thrive? This breakdown of high-stakes pitching can also be found on our website, nolatter.com. Let's get into it. That moment in the boardroom is the ultimate stress test. It is a microscopic moment that separates someone who is just playing at being an entrepreneur from an absolute professional. Because a pro understands that business is entirely about navigating friction. To guarantee you never experience that kind of paralyzing, career-ending panic, we have to look closely at the underlying mechanics of high-performance psychology and preparation. What we're looking at here is a fundamental divide that dictates who gets funded and who goes home to lay off their team. Does ultimate success come from flawless, robotic preparation, or does that extreme rigidity actually trap you, making you so brittle that you shatter the second unpredictable reality hits? To answer that, we first have to understand the psychological terrain of a venture capitalist. You cannot prepare for a battle if you don't understand the battlefield, and the mind of an investor is unapologetically unforgiving. Venture capital firms operate on a ruthless mathematical reality called the power law. Here is how this works. An investor might write checks to 20 different companies, but mathematically, they are operating on the baseline expectation that 15 of those companies will completely fail. They won't just pivot. They will go to absolute, undeniable zero, total capital destruction. So when you walk into that room, their default assumption is not maybe. Their default assumption is that you are already dead. Because of that brutal failure rate, the fund's entire existence hinges on one or two massive outliers, unicorns that generate astronomical returns to pay for the smoking craters of all the failures. This mortality rate completely rewires an investor's cognitive baseline. By Tuesday afternoon, after hearing 4 pitches, they are biologically wired to look for a reason to say no. Their brains literally cannot afford to do deep empathetic analysis on every single business model, so they rely on heuristics, aggressive subconscious pattern-matching shortcuts, to instantly disqualify you and preserve their energy. They want to put you in the no pile. If you don't instantly project an undeniable signal of competence, you are filtered out before you even get to your product roadmap. Precision is that ultimate signal of competence. Any unhandled friction in your pitch is fatal, because if you are sloppy with your narrative, they assume you will be sloppy with their capital. This is exactly why the dead projector scenario isn't just a technical glitch, it is an existential test. When the tech fails, the investor's brain flags you as a liability. To survive, you must engineer what is known as a redundancy protocol. Let's look at the mechanics of this. Imagine you are walking up the concrete steps to the venture firm's office. Your adrenaline is spiking, your hands are shaking, and you accidentally drop your primary tablet down a flight of stairs. The screen shatters into 100 pieces just seconds before your meeting. Most people would suffer a total psychological collapse. But a redundancy protocol dictates that you never rely on a single point of failure. You anticipated your own stress response. So instead of panicking, you calmly reach into your bag and pull out a backup USB drive. But let's escalate the friction, because reality loves to test you. You walk into the room, plug in the drive, and realize the building's entire network is down, and the screen on the wall won't power on. This is where you execute the ultimate analog fallback. The room is dead silent, waiting to see if you crack. Without breaking eye contact or skipping a beat, you reach into your leather folio and pull out beautifully printed, high-quality blueprints and physical storyboards of your deck, handing one to every decision-maker. You are no longer reliant on their broken infrastructure. You control the pace. Investors aren't judging the medium of paper in that moment. They are evaluating your central nervous system. Startups are pure managed chaos. By deploying physical contingencies without hesitation, you turn a technical embarrassment into an absolute masterclass in operational reliability. You prove that risk mitigation is woven into your DNA. That physical preparation only buys you the first 5 minutes, though. It just gets you to the starting line. Once you open your mouth, relying on natural charm or conversational charisma is a lethal miscalculation. This requires the Usain Bolt paradigm. Usain Bolt didn't just wake up, stretch his hamstrings and casually jog out a world record sprint. That 10-second explosion of speed is the visible culmination of years of grueling, unseen, monotonous training. For a founder, that grueling workout is the exhaustive mapping of your go-to-market strategy and financial discipline. You must know your specific customer acquisition costs, the exact length of your sales cycles, and where every single dollar of that $5 million is going. This is your financial diet. If you are spending capital on vanity metrics or bloated salaries, investors will smell those empty calories instantly. You cannot have a sloppy financial diet and expect to perform like a lean athlete. Now, you might think that this level of obsessive repetition will make you sound like a programmed robot reading a teleprompter. That is the biggest trap in pitching, assuming preparation kills authenticity. But true spontaneity actually requires absolute mastery. Think of a world-class stand-up comedian dealing with a vicious heckler in the front row. The comedian's razor-sharp, hilarious response looks completely improvised, like pure magic. But they can only flow naturally and command the room because they have practiced their core timing and material 10,000 times. Because their baseline delivery is automatic muscle memory, their brain is completely freed up to observe the audience and adapt in real time. When your metrics and value proposition become muscle memory, you stop buffering. You regain your cognitive capacity, allowing you to read the micro-expressions in the room and adjust your tone before an investor even vocalizes their hesitation. Eventually, though, the investor will interrupt your flow, and when they do, they speak the dialect of pure mathematics. This is where you must apply the anti-story rule. The natural human instinct, when challenged on a number, is to wrap the data in a sprawling narrative to soften the blow. It is a defense mechanism because the founder feels insecure about the raw data. But the anti-story rule dictates that when asked a quantitative question, you deliver a crisp, quantitative answer, full stop. If they ask for your customer acquisition cost, the answer is $42, not a 5-minute philosophical journey about optimizing ad spend. Wrapping numbers in a story triggers the investor's disqualification reflex. It screams that you don't know the math intimately. To prove your operational reality, you must know 4 non-negotiable metrics: cold, projected revenue for the first 3 years, break-even revenue, the cash required to reach break-even, and finally, your yearly employee headcount. That last one, headcount, is the ultimate lie detector test. Say you confidently project scaling a complex logistics platform to 100,000 active daily users by year 2. The investor nods and asks for your headcount. If you reply that you'll stay incredibly lean and only hire 2 customer support reps, your entire financial model shatters in their mind. The logistics simply do not work. Who is handling the flood of onboarding? Who is patching the servers at 3 in the morning? The investor uses headcount to cross-reference your ambition against the brutal physical laws of building a business. When a spreadsheet falls apart like that, it exposes performed conviction. This happens when a founder spends entirely too much time in the sterile laboratory of their own mind, falling in love with a highly formatted spreadsheet that goes straight up and to the right. The market does not negotiate with an Excel formula. If your entire persona is built around theoretical data, you only possess performed conviction, an intellectual foundation made of sand. Earned conviction, on the other hand, comes from bleeding in the real world. Imagine 2 founders building inventory software for the restaurant industry. Founder A has performed conviction. They spent a month in a quiet coffee shop reading glossy reports about the digital transformation of food service. Their pitch is polished but brittle. Founder B has earned conviction. They actually worked the 2 a.m. closing shift in a chaotic, greasy commercial kitchen. They watched a stressed-out manager tear a soggy paper inventory sheet in half in pure frustration because the delivery truck arrived late. Founder B has visceral contact with reality. When the investor throws a bizarre edge case question at them, Founder A freezes and tries to pivot to a rehearsed script. Founder B leans forward, looks the investor dead in the eye, and delivers raw battlefield intelligence based on what they actually witnessed on the kitchen floor. That display of raw adaptability builds profound structural trust, transforming a fragile pitch into a genuine partnership discussion. Before we summarize how to apply this, just a quick reminder that you can find more knowledge translated at knowlater.com. The core takeaway here is that elite preparation is never about perfectly memorizing a rigid script. It is about acquiring such a deep, undeniable mastery of your business's reality that you possess the profound confidence to throw the script away entirely. The physical backups, the athletic drilling of your financials, the cold precision of your metrics, all of that is just the armor you wear to survive the environmental friction and bypass the investor's disqualification reflex. But earned conviction is the actual weapon that wins the room. So, evaluate your own trajectory. Think about the massive needle-moving opportunity looming on your horizon, the pitch that could fundamentally alter your career. Are you walking into that room relying on your natural charm, or have you done the punishing, unseen work? Have you engineered your redundancy protocols? Have you drilled your financial mechanics into muscle memory? Most critically, have you acquired the gritty, undeniable, earned conviction to guarantee that even if the projector dies and the room goes pitch black, you absolutely cannot fail? And that is high-stakes pitching translated. I'm your host, and this is Knowlator, your knowledge translator. For more breakdowns of elite startup strategies by top industry experts, head over to knowlator.com.